Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. Hope you're doing well, friend. I really do hope that, and welcome back to, of course, Chelsea News, the daily series here on Football Therapy, where I see what's being said about Chelsea, giving you my opinion, but of course, as always, more importantly, asking for yours. We're reflecting on Chelsea moving money before the sanctions. We're reflecting on Nick Candy, British Chelsea fan billionaire that wants to put a fan on the board should he buy Chelsea Football Club. And the brilliant Thomas Tuchel. Settle in, subscribe, drop a like, it means a lot. And take a quick listen to this. Boys and girls, Football Therapy is still brought to you by SPITCH. SPITCH is wicked. It's a fantasy football game where you don't have to commit to the entire season and you can just play every game week. Doesn't matter if you've been bad, you have a fresh start next week. Though it's free to play, it's 18 plus because you can win money on it should you choose to do so. It's a much better fantasy football because it uses Opta stats to govern whether players have actually had a good game week or not. So it's actually the thinking man's fantasy football. And there's currently a prize league on. You have the opportunity to win one of loads of prizes, including like Apple Watches, Premier League jerseys. Click the link down in the description now. Go check out SPITCH for free. Do yourself a favour. Cool. Check out SPITCH now. Look, right, let's start off with Thomas Tuchel. Really important. We've all seen the quotes. Him, oh man, saying, look, we've got a plane to Lille, I think we have. If we don't have a plane, we'll take the train. If we can't get a train, we'll take the bus. If we can't take a bus, I'll drive a 7-seater. I'll do it. I'll do it. Trust me, I'm not joking. People laugh thinking he's joking. He's not joking. Emma Hayes as well, but I'm reflecting on the men's team almost exclusively on this channel. So I do want to shout out Emma Hayes because she's been equally as brilliant. But Thomas Tuchel, you find out who the real ones are in turbulent times in life, and indeed in football. Imagine if we had Maurizio Sarri as Chelsea manager. Now, this is not me digging out Maurizio Sarri. He just doesn't like media. He was a very methodical, dogmatic coach. He wouldn't have been wanting to deal with any of this stuff. Jose Mourinho, imagine his ego getting in the way dealing with this stuff. We would have been doubly screwed. But the way Thomas Tuchel has just stood up in this period and led and just said all the right things about, a great club, about the people, the staff, while condemning all atrocities over, what's going on in Europe, all this horrible stuff. He says, no, this is Chelsea, and you know what, whatever happens, I'm going to be here, and we're going to be here, and we are great, and we're doing this for the people, not myself, the manager, not the millionaire footballers, my words, not his, but for the people who are paying mortgages and are work in different parts of the club. Incredible. If there's one I don't say positive or silver lining, that's all incorrect because it's just so dire, everything. But he's come out looking so great throughout as a leader, as a figure in the club, as well as being an excellent manager, handling everything with such grace. Incredible. I wanted to talk about that and reflect on that because I do on social media to the people I talk to, so I wanted to do it here on the channel as well. But we are talking about Chelsea news. That's not so much news other than referencing the quote from Thomas Tuchel there, which I loved. But I do want to talk about news. Firstly, let's talk about some financial stuff. This is from David Ornstein's column this morning. He spoke about NFTs, which you'll be pleased to learn we're not going to talk about. But he spoke about finances moving. Of course, he referenced Petr Cech, who spoke to Sky Sports prior to Chelsea's game against Newcastle, and said as much as he could. Let's read this small extract from Ornstein's column. Before Chelsea's 1-0 win over Newcastle, technical director Petr Cech said he, quote, didn't have the answers about whether the club could pay club staff. Of course, there's still this idea that Chelsea may not be able to complete the season if a resolution isn't found quickly. Chelsea have more than 1,000 employees, I've heard it's around 1,200, who face uncertain futures after the spending was limited by the UK government. However, one group of people seemingly unaffected by the restrictions so far are the players' agents. Chelsea typically make commission payments biannually, with intermediaries ordinarily being paid in September and February. It is believed that the most recent instalments were deposited with the Football Association, as is standard procedure, only days before Roman Abramovich was sanctioned on March the 10th. Data released by the FA in February 2021 showed no Premier League club paid more in agents' fees than Chelsea, who made a £35 million of payments over the previous 12 months. Interesting. So that's suggesting that Chelsea have paid the most agent fees over that time. Now you could be like, okay, so that's like Chelsea have bought players. We've done over the previous 12 months. What have we done now? Signed Lukaku, his agent would have got some money. I don't know, man. Like, I can't think of that many big players. Maybe new contracts, but I think what this is suggesting is maybe Chelsea knew, or some people behind the scenes in Chelsea knew there was going to be sanctions and tried to pay out agents first to keep the agents sweet. Maybe I couldn't say. But clearly, this is becoming a headline because other publications, other news websites have picked up on this, and they're talking about it. So we'll keep an eye on that. Feel free to comment your thoughts on that. Chelsea paying agents just before the sanctions have come in. And yeah, from David Ornstein's column there has made loads of headlines. Let's move on and talk about ownership then. So Nick Candy has spoken to Sky Sports. Of course, he's a big Chelsea fan. He attended the game against Newcastle, and there's that 25-second clip when I think it's Sky Sports grab him before he goes in. I'm going to read you an article here off BBC Sport citing some information about him. This video isn't about Saudi media, but we can talk about that, of course. Nizar Kinsella from Goal.com, good guy. He's been doing some work on that, but this is in relation to Nick Candy. Of course, he attended the game, like I said. British businessman Nick Candy has said he will give Chelsea supporters a seat on the board if he buys the club from Roman Abramovich, and has offered to help fund the Premier League side while their owner is subject to UK sanctions. He's offered to give Chelsea money, a loan, to keep them afloat while they are in turmoil. I mean, I don't know if this is PR to try and buy Chelsea, but it's working. It sounds pretty good. To keep Chelsea afloat in turbulent times. And should he buy it, he's saying a fan needs to be on the board. Abramovich has had British assets, including Chelsea, frozen. We know that. Candy's interest is going ahead with a takeover bid was set out last week. The freezing of Abramovich's assets halted the sale process on Thursday, while answers were sought from the government about the implications of the sanctions. Action taken against Abramovich is intended to stop the Russian making money from Chelsea. The government is open to considering an addition to the special license it granted the club that would allow a sale to go ahead. However, it's not yet been granted. Quote, should his bid be successful, Mr. Candy would advocate for a fan representative to join the board so supporters can become a part of the decision-making process, end quote. So saith a spokesperson for Mr. Candy. Mr. Candy cares hugely about the future of the club and believes that the fans and the community are central to its continued success. Right, Nick Candy, billionaire, Chelsea fan, property developer, would be able to redevelop Stamford Bridge, is publicly saying that he would keep Chelsea afloat in turbulent times. He was caught by the Sky Sports journalist, interviewer, going into Stamford Bridge and said, Mr. Candy, how's it going with Chelsea, the bid? He said, it's going well. And they spoke about, should there be fan representative on the board? Absolutely they should. He stops. He gives them like 20 seconds. But he says a lot. He says, I'm a Chelsea fan. I've always been a Chelsea fan. My dad was asked to play for Chelsea. I want what's best for the club. He really laid that on thick to the media. But he didn't want to stop, I want to take questions. Come on, journalists. Let me tell you about my love for Chelsea. He was, originally not going to talk to them, but, turned and quite emotively said that, I thought. So, this has caused, a split reaction on social media. Some, I don't know, I'm guessing kids I don't want to like a lot of like joking stuff about like no we want the Saudis, we want Saudi money, we want oil money. We want to just be able to spend without thinking of the implications, the ramifications. If hypocrisy leaves football and they truly want to clean up the game and talk about sanctions, fine, remove Roman Abramovich, although I don't think he's invaded Ukraine, and yes, he has done lots good for English football, more so for Chelsea, and indeed the communities, but if they are truly trying to clean certain sources of money, then get rid of Abramovich, fine, but if you get rid of Abramovich, you absolutely have to get rid of the owners that are worse than him, that are themselves actively committing war crimes, not an associate, a mate of the guy who was committing a war crime at some point in his history. I'm not going to go into that, it's not political, I know it's football related, but I don't want to go too deeply into that. If you want to clean up football, do it like that. But for some fans going, oh yeah, bring in, the oil and, the Saudis or the States and stuff, without thinking about the ramifications. Truth is, if we're cutting ties with Russia, our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson's going to start pleading the Saudis for oil, and he will probably let them in for football club ownership anyway. Look, Saudi media is a private company. It's not a state, backed situation, so that could be very, very different, of course. And that could not represent a problem at all. I'm going to have to do more research. I will do videos on that, and I'll probably message Nizar about it. So that's worth checking out. But at the moment, Nick Candy's had a bit of pushback from Chelsea fans. I don't know if he's got links to the Tory party, which obviously someone of my disposition isn't overly interested in that. Many of you might feel the same. Yeah, and there's a lot of people that maybe know him much better than I do that take issue with him. But what I have seen so far is a young guy, he's still in his 40s, that's a billionaire. He is a Chelsea fan, he adores Chelsea, he wants fan representation, he wants to empower the fans, he wants to redevelop Stamford Bridge. In a way, it sounds too good to be true. To the point of like, do you believe it? Is this guy just saying like dreamland stuff when really he's not equipped to own a football club? I have no idea. And I'll reach out to you, friends. Let me know what you think regarding that. But he certainly had mixed reviews. He makes it sound like he's going to be the perfect owner, especially if he's going to, float money to keep Chelsea functioning, especially if he will. He wants Chelsea to continue winning, and he has the ambition and vision for Chelsea to win Premier Leagues, compete with City, Liverpool, etc. Remember, if Chelsea are run better, if Chelsea function better, we can do better. That doesn't mean more money. Liverpool's model's been great, and that's largely down to the fact how they've got Jurgen Klopp as a figurehead, and they've sort of used his coaching and what he represents. We could do the same with Thomas Tuchel. He's a similar, methodical, passionate coach that doesn't necessarily... Yes, he's come from PSG. Yes, he went from PSG to Chelsea with loads of money. But he doesn't demand the money. He demands, support and control as a coach. And he's completely granted control as a coach. And he's always maintained he has incredible support at Chelsea. If Chelsea can maintain that, you don't need to be spending £100 million on Lukaku. Newsflash, doesn't always work. So we have an amazing academy, so we don't necessarily need bring in, all this kind of money. Do you know what I mean? It could just be a case of, right, bring this guy in who wants to do fan ownership. I don't know. I'm not saying one thing or another. I have to stay relatively neutral until I have more information. And to be honest, it's my job as a content creator on this channel to stay neutral with you as long as I can. I mean, I'm going to always say my opinion when it's cultivated, but for a while I need to be like, let's have a look, guys. And what do we do together? We reflect to the news and the headlines. And that's what we've done today. So let me know what you think. Make sure you click the link in the description and check out SPITCH. It's ruddy wicked and it's good fun. And if you like thinking about football, you'll probably like this. And make sure you subscribe if you're yet to do so. And I appreciate everyone who has dropped like on video. Woo! Okay, keep it locked. See you soon. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double, silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh